I need some more shirts. The camera's on as well. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Jay McInnes. This is the Sharp Stories. This is Revamp and Re-list final episode 3. The saga does not continue. The saga has ended. The property has sold. Al Q cheering clip for the video.
Let's all start clapping.
So, a little recap of what took place. We listed the property in North Van. We got plenty of attention because the property had an amazing view. The property then developed a few repetitive reference points of negativity, we'll lightly say, from the market. So we did a few minor price reductions. Still didn't do enough. So then we took these considerations to the table with the seller, said these are the common negative points of feedback we're receiving. We need to do something about this if we're going to want to keep things as proactively moving forward as possible. And we did the Revamp and Re-list videos. Episode 1 and 2, prior to this, was us going in and revamping the unit, giving it a little bit of a facelift, brightening it up, minusing all of those negative points of feedback out of the unit, and then bringing back this new unit, which is now sold, which is great for our seller. So, but I wanted to touch base on the last leg of this journey, if you will, which is shopping the offer. I don't know if I've spoken about this much before, but basically what we did is got all the work done, as you saw in the last 2 episodes. Got the new videos, got the new photos. Last time we did daylight, this time we did twilight. Is it a huge difference? I don't know, just something a bit different. So again, when this listing gets re-splashed out to the world, always relist. Don't just adjust those listings. Always relist so it gets re-pushed out onto all the agents out there and their auto searches. Just a little tidbit on how we do things on our side. So anyway, wanting it to look as different as possible basically for our refresh comeback. So while we were waiting for Mr. Julian Plimley's perfect twilight shots to come back, we had a few groups through. We put the listing back up live with the new marketing, and we were then on the market for 3 days before the turn of events, which is what brought us our offer this time. So we had offers in the past, physical and verbal. Obviously verbal mean nothing, so a few tangible, actual paper offers. In the past, I assume someone's writing something rude. We're live now at the moment as well. We'll look at those after. Oh, he's on there. Oh, there you go. So while waiting for Mr. Plimley's photos, we had 4 groups through. Put the listing up, and after the 3 days post new marketing, relist and all that, we had the first offer. So, shopping a listing, what did this do? We went back and forth with the offer twice and got to a place where the buyer said,
"We're done here. We are not going to go any further. If you counter this price, we are going to walk away from this point forward." So
we've got them to what we believe to be their highest number, and we then have an expiry timeline until we have to accept. Of course, you've always got the option to counter, but accept this offer. So this was an offer that we were willing to accept. That was on the Thursday. On the Wednesday, we had 2 groups through. Of course, once we got the offer initially, called those 2 groups. We've got an offer, just so you know, what were your clients' thoughts? One of them was not interested. One of them did not want to compete. So they did not want to enter a multiple offer situation. So those were off the table. Obviously following up with every group the following day as they've seen it to see what the feedback is. So this time we went back to the 2 groups from the day before, and that Thursday morning we had the last booked showing. So Wednesday evening we came to the point in the offer that the buyer said we're going no further. That offer expired Thursday at 12 noon. 10:30 Thursday morning, we had another showing. So, shopping the offer. We've gone back to the prior groups and said, we've got an offer, do you want to do anything? That was a dead end. we called the group, there was 2 groups booked for the Thursday at noon. We called one and said, just so you know, we do have an offer. It is willing to accept. So once you see it today at 10 and 10:30 were the 2 groups. You're gonna have to make a quick decision if you are interested. One of them said, okay, we're not interested in competing, so we're not gonna view at all. And the other one came in and viewed at 10:30, under the assumption, of course, that they were going to be in multiples if they wanted to write. So shopping that offer is we are basically running out the clock, trying to get as many people through, new people through still as possible. And then of course, dating back the prior people, some people that gave verbals before they were of course called. So trying to bring people into the mix now that there's a little bit of front end pressure, that there is an offer in hand that we will be working with if no one else steps up. So we went through that path. The guys at 10:30 viewed, the one didn't. So the risks involved here are 2. The first is that there's the 2 groups that did not want to simply compete. One that had seen it and didn't want to compete. The second that didn't even bother wanting to see it because they didn't want to compete. So the risk of adding that front end pressure, of course, is that you're going to steer people away. That's the first risk. The second risk is while the offer was in our court or our hands, it's up to us now to be accepting or countering the paperwork that is in our court now from the buyer. That buyer has, until we make our next step, they have the right of rescission. So I could receive a call at any time while I'm running the clock out trying to get all these other people in to see it. They could call at any time and say, okay, we now rescind our offer. We no longer are interested in purchasing at what's stated on the contract. So it's dead. So there are 2 risks very apparent in doing this. We discussed with the seller before, what do you want us to do? Do you want us to accept this offer that you're willing to accept right now, Wednesday night? Or do you want us to, after we've called all the people that have seen it already, exhausted the prior list and none of those people are going to step forward? Or do you want us to run the clock right down to the wire, get those further people in to make sure that the tentative people also are or are not interested? So he said,
do whatever you think we can do to maximize here.
That's what we did. So unfortunately, that one of those groups for the 10 a.m. on Thursday said they don't want to view it. The 10:30 viewed it and said, no, it's too rushed. We don't want to do anything. We want to keep looking. My guys aren't ready to buy yet. So they were out, and then right before the 9th hour, we accepted the offer that we have in hand. And then we ran through the subjects there, and of course, subjects were removed, and the property has now sold. So it got a lot of attention. We got over 28,000 video views through that Revamp and Re-list process. A number of people that came into the unit. There were 8 groups in total that came in after the revamp work was done. I think 4 of those mentioned either seeing the change online, or they had seen the listing originally in its original state and just simply chose, based on the looks, not to look at it. And then once it came back up again and seeing it, to actually come in now and have a look. And 2 of those groups didn't even know, in conversations we found out, didn't even know that it was the same unit. And that just goes to show, again, when there's changes, I wouldn't say structural changes, but big visual changes in the unit which we created in this revamp situation, that it always makes sense to bring the property off the market and put it back up to market so it's refreshed in those inboxes instead of just shooting out a new video or uploading different photos. So that's it. Quick one this week, but the revamp worked. It is now sold. The seller is happy. The buyers are ecstatic. Relatively quick close in a month, which is nice for everyone as well. But always, again, trying to maximize for our sellers, getting all the feedback taken into consideration, and then, okay, this is the feedback, this is the negative feedback, that's great, but what are we gonna do about it? As we discussed through the revamp videos before, the easiest thing to do is just simply reduce the price. But in this case, because there were very specific negatives that we kept hearing, we wanted to address those directly instead of allow the buyers, which in that segment of the market, Again, in the 1.3 million range for a 2-bed, 1,200 square feet with view in North Van, as you've probably seen the unit or will. There was very specific market, and they were under no urgency to purchase whatsoever. We had handfuls of groups through over the time that we were there, and a very discerning bunch in the current market climate, which is fine as long as you're reacting to that as proactively as possible, which we did, and it worked. So congrats again to our sellers. Thank you for listening to us. And I'm glad it is all over. The saga will continue at another address next time. Thank you for paying attention. I'll see you next week.